Welcome to Founders Espresso podcast. Start your day with inspiring stories and actionable tips from founders to fuel your entrepreneurial journey. Sip up and scale up together. So, Harris, can you tell me a bit more about Jupitrr, what you're doing?
So Jupitrr basically is an AI video editor that helps small businesses to make videos 10x faster, and we focus on B-roll generation. So when we say B-roll, basically it means supporting visuals. So when you have a talking head video, you talk in front of the camera, you make videos of these on social media, you have to have something more than just your face, because otherwise it would be super boring to just listen to you for like 10 minutes straight. So we have some B-roll to make some alternatives to the screen and then to make the video more engaging. So our tool basically helps people to do that in a 10x faster way.
Nice. And can you tell me what makes your setup unique? And especially, where do you see in 6 months, 1 year, and 5 years?
Right. So we actually launched roughly 15 months ago, a bit more than 1 year. We've already hit 100,000 users right now. So in 6 months, we plan to raise a seed round, and then we would like to accelerate the growth, basically because we've been hitting month-on-month 52% revenue growth since last April. And I think like the traction is pretty speaking for itself. I think the users love the idea, they love the product, so that's what we want to go. For 5 years, I would say we hope to see people no longer edit videos for hours. So we basically see that AI can automate the video editing process, and we want to help them generate like not only visuals, but anything in the video editing process that we can actually automate everything, especially for businesses or small business owners to make their videos way faster. And they potentially do not need to hire people, agencies to do that for them.
And where do you see in the next year or in 5 years?
So I just said, like, after 1 year, we've been raising our seed round already. So we're accelerating growth. Hopefully, we can hit like 500,000 users next year. And then for 5 years, potentially, nobody has to edit videos, and we can do it with AI. That's the ideal scenario what we can do in 5 years.
Nice. I love it. Alice, which one do you prefer, espresso or a latte?
Can I choose flat white?
Yes, absolutely. For me, it's a cappuccino. So, but it depends, of course, on the seasons, no?
Yeah.
Harris, can you tell me how did you start your startup, the first days, and also what was your initial budget?
I started actually my first company in 2017. We did not have any budget, so basically it's just blood and sweat from the founders. We were still in college, actually. We were still in our final year. I asked my co-founder right now, Jerome, who is our CTO, to work together with me because I'm a non-tech person. And then he's a developer at that time. So as of today as well, of course. So we work together. We happened to raise an angel round, but we actually didn't have the money to put anything out because we don't have any savings. So after several years, we got profitable. So we have been profitable for a few years. And right now, we're growing our second company.
How did you identify the problem that you are aiming to solve?
So from the first company, we have 100,000 users already. So most of them are actually business owners or freelancers, solopreneurs, these kind of people. We want to know what exactly they would like us to make. So they mentioned they want to make videos, but it's super time consuming for them to make videos because it would take 6 hours for them to just edit a 30-second video. Let's say on CapCut or Final Cut Pro or Premiere. So we were like, hey, OpenAI has actually launched a new model, GPT-3 at that time, roughly 2 years ago. So we have to make something out of it. We think we can actually replicate the editing experience potentially for people. So in 3 years, in 5 years, we can understand what people are doing with their videos in styles, rhythms, coloring, and etc. So yeah, that's what we want to do in the future, and that's how we got the idea, because we see the people from our first company having the pain point of making videos.
Nice, very interesting. And I'm curious to know, like, what steps did you take to validate?
Talk to users, as always. We talk to users very oftenly. So in the early stage, we talk to anyone who signed up to the products. And right now, we only talk to people who have significant progress, like exported the video, or they have already paid for the product. We understand where they're coming from, what is their objective, their use case, alternative, how frequent they make videos, and so on, to validate the problem. So we see there's actually a huge problem because 65% of our interviewees actually say they make videos every day.
I see. If your startup were an animal, what would it be and why?
My first instinct would be a lion because we are aggressive. We want to make something big. That's also why the name Jupitrr happens. We didn't know what exactly we want to build at that first stage. We kind of pivoted a little bit as well. So we were like, let's have something big. So potentially it's a blessing to the company. We impact the world in a big way. So Jupitrr means that. So lion probably is the closest I can think about that's relevant to Jupitrr as well.
Nice. Hey, so I'm curious to know, how did you meet your co-founder? And especially what made you decide they were the right partner for this journey?
I met Jerome in college. So actually he was trying to pitch an idea in the university that is identical to my idea. So we were competitors at that time. He went to the finals of the competition and I didn't. So I was at the audience stage and watching him pitching. After 2-3 months, so his co-founders actually like have a breakup with him. So he didn't have any co-founders at that time. I was like, hey, why don't we work it out together? So I've got the same scenario.
I see. It's interesting. A lot of stories start at the university or during younger age.
Exactly.
Iris, can you tell me an anecdote or a funny story in your entrepreneurial journey that you recall in your mind?
Oh yeah. When we first launched on Product Hunt, we thought we like basically at that time we set a thing called an automated email to the admin, so which is the co-founders. When we have one sign up, we send one email to the founders because at that time we only have like 50 registered users. So I think having 2-3 emails a day isn't any of a hassle. So 3 sign-ups a day usually before Product Hunt launch. And we try to launch on Product Hunt with just an idea with a very simple prototype. And we actually got a lot of emails in. So roughly we get one email every 10 seconds for the whole evening. And that was 2 days after Product Hunt launch. And I told my co-founder Jerome, I was like, hey Jerome, we've got a bug here. We've got a bug. There's no way we get like one new user every 10 seconds. And he looked into it and was like, hey Harris, no, it's not a bug. We really have those users. And I checked the backend, and it's really having one user every 10 seconds. And we know this is a big thing. So it's a kind of funny thing because I didn't believe it's real at that time.
Okay, nice. Harris, who is your favorite entrepreneur, and what makes them stand out to you?
Hard question. I don't have a particular one person because I learned from many other things from like different people.
I see.
So Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, they have their own like shortcomings. I don't like the bad side about them. So I would say if I have to really choose one person, it would be the imaginary myself 20 years from now.
I see.
So I can imagine how I want to be, and I want to learn from that person. So I can be that person eventually after 20 years.
I see. So, Harris, imagine this situation. You wake up, the day starts off bad and keep getting worse. One setback after another. So what's the phrase you tell yourself to keep going?
So basically what motivates me to get up every day?
Yes. Or imagine it's one of your normal day as an entrepreneur. Everything goes bad, but in your mind, there is always this kind of probably positive mindset. And
yeah, I get it. So I've posted on LinkedIn. If you guys are interested, you can check it out. It's a graph that shapes like this. So there's ups and downs every time. I believe every downfall is a big contributor to the next peak. So basically, if you're falling down right now, it's a very good sign that you're going to a new peak very soon. And if you're at the peak right now, you probably will fall down very soon. So it's taking an average of the whole journey where you just like going up by 3 steps and going down by 2 steps, and so on and so forth. So you go up, and go up. So understand that being down and having failures is part of the journey. Every successful founder has experienced the same thing. So if you get failure faster or more failure, harder failures, then you get up faster and bigger. So that's what I would tell myself.
Absolutely. Very true. Interesting. So, Harris, what's your most effective strategy for gathering customer feedback and how it has directly shaped your product development? So,
I think is sending an email for users who have a significant action or events. Let's say export a video, and I say, hey, we would like to get your feedback. And one in maybe 100 people will sign up, especially when we're in early stage. So we get a lot of these people signing up for the user calls. So that's how we get user feedback directly from users and not from any other things, because from calls is a more qualitative way to understand user needs.
I see. Very interesting. I guess also in this way you have a very in-depth analysis and also, as you said, qualitative knowledge. So it's very interesting, especially in an early stage startup. I believe it's crucial to have not just feedback but qualitative feedback. So very in-depth to understand if you are viewing the right customer journey, if you're viewing and underline the right pain point of your customer, or even if it's your right customer, the one that you're targeting. So it's I totally agree. And when it comes to acquiring paying customers, which growth strategies have been most effective for your startup, and what made them so successful?
I would say it really depends on what stage you're in, what market you're in. But for me, the most early stage, we shouldn't focus on getting customers first. Maybe it's controversial, but I believe in getting users first. If they don't use your product, they wouldn't be paying you. If you have no user at that time, get people who use it for free first. Of course, it's big bonus if they pay for you. We're talking about the first 100 registered users. So I would say launch on Product Hunt and AppSumo, anything like Hacker News, the public channels or forums. Just make yourself out there and get some free users first. Maybe get up to, so for us, we get a lot of like users from these platforms. I think we've got probably 30 to 50,000 users collectively from these platforms. So I would say it's like a very high ROI thing in the early stage, because you don't have to pay for that. You just get the users for free. But of course, you have to prepare for every launch. You design things and you make sure you craft your message really well. So that's what I would recommend.
I see. I see your point, because a lot of people, to simplify their vision, they say you just need to find the first paying customer. But actually, for a very early stage startup, you need to first of all focus, understand what you're doing, what you are solving, what is the right problem. So as you said, like in giving away or trying and leave people the chance to test it, you understand what you are actually solving. Because maybe at the beginning you think I'm solving this point, but then after a few users, you understand that you are actually solving another problem more in depth in the journey. So it's very, very interesting. And do you have any unconventional growth hack? Like, can you share an unconventional growth hack?
Oh, unconventional growth hack. Yes. I think like recruit users manually in the early stage is one of them.
Yes.
In my first company, we try to use Instagram to do DMs for people. So our first company is basically a freelance job matching platform. Because I was a photographer back then, I don't have a lot of followers. I got only like 1,000 followers on Instagram. So what I did is that I tell other photographers that we have a job. I have a job in hand. I would like to collaborate with them. And I was just like, hey, are you interested in this job? And they say yes. And I give them a Google form to fill in. And then they will register. So it's half a lie, I would say, but eventually we really got jobs for them. So it's not 100% a lie. It's kind of a lie at that time. But then if you wait for 1 to 2 more weeks, we actually have jobs for you. So yeah, it's how like the chicken and egg thing go. We find one side first and like saying a little lie. But afterwards, because there are like chickens there, so we can get more eggs.
Absolutely. I see totally your approach. And Alice, do you have any books or courses or lessons that have significantly influenced your startup journey, helping you tackle challenges in your startup?
Yeah. There's a book called Lost and Founder by Moz SEO's founder, Fishkin, as I remember his last name, Rand Fishkin, probably. Hope I didn't get it wrong. So I think it's the most interesting book that I've ever read about startups. It's not directly teaching you stuff like a lecture. It's more like he speaks about his own journey as a founder, being a co-founder with his mom, which is like very rare. Very interesting story. He told a lot about how he was depressed, how he get over those depressions, and how he fights with the company, the colleagues, the politics, the investors. It's really real and it's really honest. So I really love that book. I really appreciate him to have this book, and it's unlike any other books that I've ever read, and it's also super underrated. None of my friends heard about it, but it's really good. I promise.
Nice. Alice, can you share a mistake that taught you a valuable lesson and how you manage your emotions also during that time?
I think it's like the server getting down. So a few months ago, so there's like a period where our server keeps getting down because I think the infrastructure wasn't designed to handle so many people to use it. So we got like 5,000 exports a month. So it was pretty high at the early stage. So I think the server wasn't built that well to support that many users, and it kept getting down. So I was pretty furious at that time, especially to the team as well. I was like, why is this happening? We shouldn't let these mistakes happen over and over again. And we do a thorough review. So I think we get a little bit emotional sometimes. Although I think I'm a very calm person. I rarely get angry. Truly angry, I think like rarely, like 1 or 2 times across the 7-8 years. So I think it's just to put down the emotion. You can be a little bit emotional, but you just have to know that finding a solution is the only way out, and communicate with the team, ask more questions. So don't try to give advice, ask questions. Ask, why is it happening? If you can do it again, is there anything you can prevent? So by asking questions, you get the solutions from them way faster than giving so-called advice, because nobody likes advice. And I never will want to give advice to anyone, because we all have our own opinion. Yeah.
I see. It's especially true in when times are tough, no? So when, as you said, there is a really big stake on the table. Also, there is a lot of pressure. Usually, it's very interesting also always to remember and to remind yourself that you need to be calm, especially if you're leading a team. You need to be you're giving the energy to the rest of the team. So if you're calm and you're asking and you approach the problem with logic and not emotions, then you will find a faster solution and a better outcome for everybody. So I see. Harris, do you have any routine or daily habit that has positively impacted your productivity and motivation as a founder?
I hit the gym almost every day before I go to work. I make my own breakfast. I make my own coffee. And yeah, I just go to the gym afterwards. And I feel good because I've done a hard thing. It's not that I really love going to the gym. I'm okay with it. Sometimes I don't want to do it. So especially the days when you really don't want to do it, you still do it. Appear for just 30 minutes. You can just hit the gym for 5 sets of bench press, and you can push your shoulder for another 5 sets, and then you can leave the gym. It's all right. You don't have to do it for 1 hour. So I think like overcoming hard things in the morning makes me feel refreshed, and I feel like I'm having a successful day at least in the morning already.
Nice. It's interesting because a lot of the time that you are facing a struggle, usually it's worse when you don't do it. Like as soon as you you go to the gym, even if at the beginning you didn't want, then in a certain way your mind kind of change, and maybe you stay longer. No, you don't stay 30 minutes, you stay 1 hour. Maybe you make a record that day. I don't know, but it's super interesting to see how much our mind block us to do stuff, and most of the time probably for laziness, or maybe we don't feel that energy, but the energy is something that you find in doing stuff. So it's very interesting to see, because I've seen it also in my life, like this kind of struggle to do, maybe go to the gym, but then as soon as I'm there, I started, and I don't think anymore about this negative aspect of I don't want to do stuff. Interesting. Harris, when you face uncertainty, how do you make crucial decisions for your startup? Are there any specific frameworks or guiding principles that help you navigate those moments?
I think when you're uncertain about things, try to break things down to the first principle. Why are you making this? What problem are you actually facing? And when you break it down to the problem level, to the atomic level, you can dissect the solution much faster. And I usually not ask people for advice. I used to do a lot of like asking for advice, but I think if you really want to ask for advice, ask for specific ones and people who have already done it. So let's say if you want to do fundraising, you ask people for advice because they have done it, and you really do not know how to do it sometimes. But if for general, like finding the direction for the company, whether I should do A or do B, it's more likely you should think about it yourself, because you know the products, your direction the best, the strategies, and so on. So trust your own gut and make the decision fast, and just get committed to it. You don't have to be choosing the best decision sometimes. You just have to choose a good decision randomly, kind of like randomly. Because if you really drag the process for a long time, it's definitely worse than you pick a good enough alternative at the early stage and get committed to it and make things happen after you pick that decision that you've made.
I see. I think I really believe that for the startup world, the mantra should be always get things happen. So make the things happen, get the things done. Sorry, but yeah, like in this approach of just doing this stuff, just moving forward, because it doesn't actually matter if this time you're right or wrong. It's more like a marathon, not a sprint. So I totally see your point. Harris, what are the 3 most important personal qualities that have helped you as a founder, and how did you cultivate or enhance them through your journey?
I would say self-awareness, never give up, like take actions. People who take actions, formidable. Because you take actions, as I mentioned, nothing too bad can go wrong. You keep moving forward. It could be wrong decisions, but you can learn and you iterate the right solution in the end. So why self-awareness? Because if you're not aware that you're doing not good enough, you never can improve as well. And understand what you are, what the company is doing in many aspects, like product positioning, how customers view you, what strategies you got stuck already. If you're not self-aware, you got stuck for 3 months, 6 months, and you still got stuck. You never know why you're having a problem. So self-awareness is important, and never give up. It's because, yeah, we all know it's very hard. Startups are really hard. You have to have a strong belief and just go ahead. If you believe in it, just do it. If you don't believe in it, don't do it. You should give up. You should find another idea. You should find another job that's fair for you. Nobody is designated to have to be a founder. It's not for everyone sometimes. If you think it's more comfortable to work in a company, that's perfect. That's actually normal for 99% of the human beings. So just go for it and don't waste your time to struggle in things that you're not good at or you don't want to do.
I see. I totally agree. Also, there is this quote from Jordan Peterson that he said, if you think you can do it, or if you think you cannot do it, in both of the situation, you are right. So it's interesting because it's at the end of the day, it's up to you. So nobody is telling you do it. You have to do it by yourself and believe it deeply in your soul. So I totally agree. And Harris, if you could go back to day one, what's the one piece of advice that you would give yourself that would have saved you significant time or stress?
That is something I also mentioned on my LinkedIn video, which is macro patience and micro speed. So it's a very hard thing to actually grasp, because we all need to have patience But if we have too much patience in the short term, we never can progress. But if we cannot progress in the short term for a few days or a few weeks, it's not the end of the world, because we have to have macro patience as well. So that's explaining why how we can balance patience and moving forward at the same time in a good way.
I see. I love it. I love it, this concept, because it's something that I'm living day by day. Like, yeah, I feel this kind of stress of doing, but I also believe that it's an energy for me to do it stuff. But I also need to accept that it takes time. So it's kind of, as you said, this kind of balance between be patient now, but do stuff, of course, and the results in long term will arrive. So it's super true. Harris, can you share one thing you're most proud of?
One thing I'm most proud of is that I stayed with the same co-founders for many years, because it's very hard. Co-founder relationships are one of the deadliest reasons for company going like winding up. So having a good co-founder relationship is actually a treasure of what we have, and we've actually committed a lot on the relationship and also the communication. It's something I'm really proud about.
Absolutely. For me, it's the first point for every startup, the cornerstone of every startup. Because before I entered this world, I thought, okay, there are many reasons. One of them is this kind of relationship thing, but probably is not the most important one. No, maybe as they always say, lack of product market fit, lack of money. But I truly believe that first main problem is relationship. So being in a relationship with your co-founder for many years, going through difficulties, challenges every day, a lot of stress, it's the key aspect. Because if you nail that, then I believe like 80% of your problems and success, it's safe. Harris, can you share your deeper why? So the driving purpose behind your startup, and explain what keeps you motivated on the toughest day. So it's kind of connected to the previous question, but here is more personal drive.
So why would I be motivated? I think it's a very complicated thing. I try to simplify my thinking, because I've been thinking about something about philosophy, about why everyone should have a motivation, have a purpose to live. So that's a core belief I have. Maybe not everyone is happy, but everyone should have a purpose, because if you have purpose, you know what you're doing in your life. And for me, why I choose this to be my purpose is because I think this can potentially impact a lot of people. We can potentially help business owners to grow way faster. When you're early stage, how you can grow 100 times faster. So video is actually a thing that we made. And even from the first company, we help people get matched from employers to freelancers. It's also a motivation. I hope that anyone who wants to be a solopreneur or entrepreneur can have a lower barrier to do so. And if you really want it, you can get it faster and easier. No matter you want to be a digital nomad or you want to be a founder, a tech startup, whatever, it's your choice. And we want to enable that to democratize the opportunities for people.
I see. It's very interesting. You know, this kind of the purpose aspect, it's for me, it's super interesting, because it kind of probably the food of our soul, probably, you know, it's the oxygen of our soul. It's what makes us arrive at the end of the day and say, okay, it's I'm moving. It's interesting because as you said, now it's probably a human being without purpose. It's a lost human being. So because of course the purpose gives you direction, and as soon as you have direction, then you can create your path to this vision. So I see. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks so much, Andrea.
Ciao, Harris.
Thank you.